916 from Esteban. This season has more feeling of the Beam team than last season. There is room for improvement and growth. Last year, not so much. Last season, I think everybody just felt a little bit stuck. Like we said, I almost gave Monty McNair a bit of a pass because you had to run it back, Chris. You pretty much had to run it back. And even though I felt like you had to because of that success, then when you didn't, people said, well, why didn't you make a move? So I think it was a tough spot, but we move on. New season, new players, DeMar DeRozan, Dougie McBuckets. Okay, you're going to get Devin Carter back at some point, and everybody is rocking and rolling. Speaking of rocking and rolling, you know who else you got back? Did you get old school Kevin Huerter back? Did you get Beam Team Kevin Huerter back? Maybe I got my swagger back. What's up with Kevin Huerter, Chris?
Kevin Huerter, Huerterer, as some will call him, had a great game yesterday, had 18 points, which is a season high, obviously. Might actually look up when the last time Kevin even had 18 points in a game, period, because as we know, last year he struggled so much. I can't imagine many games ended with him finishing with that many points and that efficiently as well. It was really, really easy looks for him. He was hitting his threes. He did a good job of driving the lane and creating some floater opportunities for himself. So I thought it was a pretty complete game. And not to mention as well, I thought Kevin Huerter, let me look up how many deflections he had yesterday as well. He did a great job of just creating chaos on the defensive end. And that's obviously been a bit of Kevin Huerter's Achilles heel is can he not be a liability defensively? I thought yesterday he was actually really, really good. And especially in the deflection game, I just thought he was the Kings' best player in doing that. He did, let's see here, led the team. No, he did not lead the team. He had 3 deflections yesterday. De'Aaron and DeMar both had 4. But yeah, again, 3 block shots listed for Kevin Huerter. I don't really remember any of them, so maybe he kind of he kind of got a little bit of the hometown scorekeeper benefit from that. But I thought it was just a good game from Kevin yesterday, and we have these numbers, these advanced numbers to back it up. And for what it's worth, the last time Kevin Huerter had 18 or more in a game was February 22nd, the 55th game of the season last year against the San Antonio Spurs. So it's been a good long time, about 8 months since Kevin Huerter has been able to put up those kind of numbers. Really, really good to see. And defensively, again, as we mentioned, his defensive numbers yesterday were through the roof. When players were defended by one Kevin Huerter yesterday, they were a combined 5 of 16 from the field. You absolutely love to see that. 31% was his defensive field goal percentage. Defenders were also, opposing players were also 1 of 4 from 3 when guarded by Kevin Huerter. So you just love to see that. Clearly they were attacking him. Let me check here. Only Domantas Sabonis had more field goal attempts against him. And of course, him being at the rim, there's just so many random ones that get chalked up to him that aren't really his responsibility. 5 of 16 defender Kevin Huerter was on the defensive side of things. He had 3 blocks, 3 deflections, and a 97.1 defensive rating, which is absolutely phenomenal and is one of the best on the team from yesterday. Let's see here. Only De'Aaron and Keegan had higher in the starting lineup. So it was just a really good overall performance from Kevin yesterday, hitting shots, but also performing on the defensive end. And, I think Keon definitely came in and still made an impact as well. Don't want to forget about him because it, like you said earlier, it really isn't a him or Kevin thing. But I think it makes it a lot harder for Mike Brown to give Keon Ellis minutes if Kevin Huerter is going to play like that on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I'm not taking anything away from Kevin Huerter, but I will say this. As the old saying goes, iron sharpens iron. Yeah. And I do think that there is a piece of this where it's Kevin Huerter footsteps.
Yeah.
Right?
I will
Kevin
also
Huerter
say
footsteps.
Keon had 3 deflections in 15 minutes. So he had the same amount of deflections as Kevin in less than half the time.
And I think, Kevin Huerter footsteps. And I think there's nothing wrong with admitting that. There's nothing wrong with having that conversation. And life is about pressure, and how you perform under pressure. As the saying goes, pressure either bursts pipes or makes diamonds. And Kevin Huerter, and what we're seeing the latter. We're seeing somebody who is somebody that not only is doing it for himself, but is also doing it for the rest of the team and his teammates, and he knows what he is capable of. Yeah. So I think that's just kind of really impressive. Obviously, it's so early,
such a small sample
but
size.
the way that he has kind of balled out so far kind of tells us exactly who he is as an NBA player right now. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Steven, who wants to kick off the calls for today, talking about the Sacramento Kings. What's up, Steven? Happy Tuesday. Stiles Watkins, what you got?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, happy Tuesday to you boys. I think it's Tuesday.
It is. It is.
Dude, maybe I'm just riding on the high that we finally got to light the beam, but I felt like that was a really, really kind of, dude, I'm satisfied. Very happy we finally got to light that beam. The one point that I was really calling about was I love the fact that we weren't the Robitussin this time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we were the ones that took the Robitussin. We weren't the ones that the other team needed a get-right game. You know, like, we needed the get-right game this time round because we were over the past few years, man, it's just that it always seems like, you know, all the teams that, you know, that are on the right on the struggle bus for weeks or days on end, or they're just, you know, they just need a get right game. Well, come to Sacramento, man. You know, we could get right in there, and everyone plays their best game here in Sacramento. You know, it felt like finally it felt like the opposite. It felt like we needed the get right game, and unfortunately, Portland was our Robitussin, was our medicine, and I really think that was kind of the jolt that we needed. It was really nice to see almost everybody knocking down at least a three. Everyone had a deep ball firing last night, and it was that right there was nice to see. I'm not a fan of the live by the three, die by the three, because three is more than two. Like, that makes sense and all, but now that you have someone like DeMar DeRozan that is literally the king of the mid range, and that can literally drive down that lane, and then stop on a dime, and then just pull up. You know what I'm saying? Pick and pop it right there, you know, down low. It really opens up the game. It really opens up the floor for everybody else.
Right.
Especially for someone like De'Aaron. You know, you got Sabonis, who is just an assist monster with excellent vision, you know. So, I mean, it was just really an overall satisfying game last night. There are still some things that we could work on. You know, we're still fine-tuning everything. It was nice to see Ellis get some solid minutes last night, too. So it was, dude, what a great game. Again, thank you for the time, boys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Steven. As always, everybody was getting in the mix last night, and it really was a feel-good game. And great stuff there. It sounded like Edgar Allan Poe, the Robitussin and the Tylenol.
I was just thinking, put some tussin on it.
Yeah, it is cold season, so you got to be careful out there. Get some emergency. Thanks, Steven.
Yes.
On the other side, speaking of the medicine, will De'Aaron Fox be the medicine for this Sacramento Kings fan base and give them what they've always wanted? Well, it starts with 10,000 points, and he did it last night. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.